Okay, 2 years ago, I bought one of these fans that pulls the air out of your attic, the hot air out of the attic. And so since then, I bought another one for the other side of the house. So what I want to do is I want to go through all the questions I've received online and what I've learned about these fans and what you should probably know before you purchase one of these fans.
Okay, before I explain all of the fan situation, I want to explain how my house is set up so you'll understand why I needed two fans in the first place. Okay, first place, I have two areas of attic space, one over here and one over here. And then I have above the second floor, I have this air tunnel where the air can mix between the three areas, okay? Now, when I first put a fan in, I first put a fan over in this side and was just pulling air from the whole house all the way over to this side. Now, there were a lot of problems with that, and I'm going to go over those problems. Okay, I originally put the fan over on this side, and if I would have known what I know now, I would have, if I only had one fan, I would have put it on this side of the house, and here's why. The sun rises on this side of the house, so this gets the morning sun, but all the afternoon sun is from this side of the house. So what I was doing is I was pulling all of this hot air all the way across this small tunnel and trying to get it out the other side, which it just was not working, and I'll show you what the numbers later. Now, what I didn't know when I had one fan is what the temperature of this side of the house was. I was only pulling air out of that side of the house, so typically when it was, say, 100 out, it was 110 to 115 on this side of the house. But I had no idea what the temperature is over here. But now I find out in the end of the day, it's probably 10 degrees hotter over here. So when I had one fan, I was pulling all this hot air over to this side. Now with two fans, because now I have one fan over here pulling all the air from the soffit vents through the attic and out the top. Same thing here, the fan is pulling through the soffit vents and pulling air out the top. So now, just to use a reference, when it was 89 out this morning, it was 100.2 on this side of the house because the sun was over here, and then the sun wasn't over here yet, so it was 99.2, so it was not bad. But my point is that I'm pulling out of both sides, and that's why I'm glad I have two fans now. Okay, now to show you, the outside temperature is still 89, but this is in the evening, or the late part of the day, so the sun is more on this side of the roof. And so here, it's heated up to about 105.8, and obviously this fan's on high because the fans kick on low at 80, medium at 90, and high at 100. So the fan is kicked on high, and it's 105 on this side, and it's 109.8 on this side, where this fan is on the hot side of the roof. And my point is, when I first installed just one fan, I put it over here, which I was pulling all the hot air across into the cool side and trying to pull it out, so it wasn't very efficient because this second floor only makes a real small space to bring that air across from all this whole area over here, so it really wasn't pulling air from this side of the house. So I still had a real hot side of the house. Now with two fans working and pulling out, I've got a tremendous amount of airflow, but obviously I've got like 9 of those soffit vents, and I've got enough intake air to match the outtake air. Okay, so if you're going to get one fan, I highly recommend finding out which side of your house is the hottest side in the evening, and put the fan in there drawing out from that direction. So don't put it in the cold side in the afternoon and try to pull all the hot air all the way across the roof to the cold side of the house. So you're kind of working against yourself. Okay, here's some additional things that I think people should know, before they buy one of these fans. Number one of the biggest things that keeps my temperature down in the attic is I use this radiant bare, this reflective foil that I put throughout the entire upper floor, so it reflects the heat coming in, it reflects it back out. So it keeps the attic a lot cooler anyway. So that's number one that I would suggest doing. I think I have 2 other videos on that. Another question I always get is, what's the difference between an attic fan and a ceiling fan? Okay, and a ceiling fan is basically put in somewhere this area here, so where it's bringing air from the house, actually from the house into the attic. So that's a home fan or a ceiling fan. So that's for like in the spring and the fall when it's like 50 degrees out, you bring all this cold air in, you open the windows and bring all this cold air in, and then you close everything up, and it stays pretty nice throughout the day. So that's really a nice feature. But I'm talking about an attic fan, which is just pulling the air from the attic out of the house. So there's no air that comes from inside the house out. It only comes from the soffit vents and any leaks. Now, that being said, I highly recommend, before you put these in, to kind of check your attic spaces and make sure there's no open areas where you're letting air escape in, from your living quarters, escape into your attic. And then what will happen is, when you put negative pressure in your attic, you'll start pulling your air conditioning out of your house. So seal up all those areas that are open before you put in one of these, just so that you keep the air from your house totally separate from your attic. And when you put negative pressure in this fan, it doesn't pull any air that you've cooled from your air conditioning up into that space. So probably the biggest savings from, obviously stopping the radiant heat from coming in the house and pulling the hot air out of your house so it doesn't superheat your living space, is your air conditioner is going to run a lot less. So not only will it bring your air conditioning bills, but it will have less wear and tear on your AC, so you won't have to replace them as often. So that's really where your big savings is to save your AC, because they're really expensive. Okay, obviously these attic fans have to pull the air from somewhere, and so since heat rises, most of your air is going to come from under your soffits in these soffit vents. But we live in an area where we get lots of cotton trees and just dust and stuff that'll plug these up. So about once a week or twice a month or so, I'll come out here and just kind of get all the, make sure all the dust and all the particles are off this vent, so all of them breathe as well. Because as you can see, there's a lot of suction. I'm just going to take some toilet paper, and it pulls it right up to the vent. So there's a lot of air being pulled through from these soffit vents, so you want to keep them cleaned out.